In Ghost of Tsushima Legends, you take on the role of a ghost, a highly skilled warrior worthy of legend, but not all ghosts are the same, so I'm Darcblade with a class guide to the Ronin in Ghost of Tsushima Legends. In this guide we're going to cover the basics of the Ronin class, including its abilities, skills, playstyles and more. The Ronin may seem like the healer of the various ghosts we have access to, but it's so much more than that. It's probably the most versatile class, able to fulfill many roles. Obviously, yes, it can fulfill a healer role, able to keep its allies alive by healing them through various skills and more, but it also can be a debuffing class to weaken enemies. It can be an artillery class, able to dish out a ton of explosive long-range damage, and the variety can be enhanced even further once you start getting your hands on legendary gear, overall making it a very fascinating class. Now when it comes to Ghost of Tsushima Legends, every class has various techniques they can learn. These are divided into class abilities, ultimates and various perks. When it comes to the class abilities with the Ronin, they have access to two, quite different from one another as well. The first class ability is Animal Spirit. This will allow the Ronin to summon a friendly companion dog for a short amount of time. This dog will attack enemies and draw attention away from the Ronin itself. It may not be the best at dealing out damage, but it's definitely a good distraction to keep enemies off your character. The other class ability, which in my opinion is far more useful, is Healing Incense. Once used, the Ronin will deploy a small pot of incense on the floor that heals themselves and any ally within its radius. This is a key healing ability, and it's great for when you're playing in modes that feature 4 players. But on top of class abilities, every ghost has access to an ultimate ability. The ultimate for the Ronin is Breath of IZANAMI. This costs 3 resolve points, which are found down in the bottom left of your screen indicated by the yellow pips. When activated, it will revive all downed allies. But thanks to the various perks you have access to, this can be enhanced even further, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Now as well as class abilities and ultimates, every ghost has access to 9 various perks, although they can only pick 3 of them divided into 3 categories. For the perk 1 slot, the Ronin has access to Enhanced Ghost Weapons, Weakening Burst and Ronin Unleashed. Enhanced Ghost Weapons increases the damage of ghost weapons by 50%. For players who don't know, ghost weapons are your sticky bombs, your kunai, and so on. Basically it's the ranged items you can equip on your ghost. This basically increases the damage of them. The next perk is Weakening Burst, which is one of my personal favourites. This gives the Ronin the ability to weaken enemies so they deal 25% less damage and take 25% more damage, so it's a debuff. Basically, you'll gain access to a new ability performed by pressing R1 and then X, to which the Ronin will emit a weakening cloud that affects enemies within its radius. But unfortunately this costs 1 resolve point to activate. Nonetheless, if you can get gear that increases the amount of resolve points you have, this can be very useful if you want to play a debuffing class. And then finally, the last perk 1 is Ronin Unleashed, which decreases your class ability cooldown by 15%, so you can use your spirit animal or healing incense more often. Moving on to the perk 2 slots, we have Staggering in Position, Resolve Increase and Quick Regen. Staggering in Position is a perk that increases stagger damage inflicted by 15%. So if you want your Ronin to deal more damage, this is the option to take. Resolve Increase obviously does what it says, it increases the amount of resolve pips you can have on your Ronin. It increases it by 1. This will stack if you have gear that also increases your resolve. If you're using Weakening Burst and debuffed enemies, increasing your resolve is strongly recommended. This means that you can use this debuffing ability but also save enough resolve points in order to cast your ultimate should the need come to revive or heal your allies. And finally is Quick Regen, which is a perk that increases your healing received and your health regen by 50%, adding to your overall survival. And then finally for the perk 3 slots is Soothing Breath, Fire Breath and Legendary. Soothing Breath is a skill that allows your ultimate ability to apply a heal over time on all players affected by it. This heal over time lasts for 8 seconds, so it's a way to heal your allies regardless of where they are on the map by just using your ultimate. Your allies don't even have to be downed for this heal over time to be applied to them. So instead of allowing your allies to go down, you can use your ultimate to keep them alive by providing them with this heal over time if you so wish. Fire Breath on the other hand is a perk that turns your ultimates into an ultimate that can deal some damage. Basically, when you perform your ultimate, any enemies who are near yourself or any of your allies will be ignited and put on fire, dealing damage to them over time. And then finally is Legendary, which increases the number of legendary items you can equip on the Ronin by 1. So this is a late game one once you have access to more legendary items. So there we have it, those are the various perks the Ronin has access to. All these perks in a way lean towards one specific playstyle over another, but for me personally I like Weakening Burst for that debuffing ability, Increased Resolve so I can do the debuffing ability even more, and Soothing Breath to allow my ultimate to heal my allies over time. But as always, there is no right or wrong way to play Ghost of Tsushima Legends, so the choice is down to you. Now when it comes to the ghost weapons and charms in the game, when it comes to the Ronin, again these are kinda down to personal preference in all honesty. However, I would advise taking the kunai or the sticky bomb, especially if you're using the enhanced ghost weapon perk. These can deal large amounts of damage, regardless of range, so it's well worth taking advantage of. I also use a healing gourd for extra survivability with this class as well, but this one is purely down to personal preference. But when it comes to Ghost of Tsushima and the various classes, everyone has pros and cons. When it comes to the Ronin, its biggest pro is its sheer versatility, being able to take on multiple roles depending what suits a player's need. On top of that, its next pro is its healing capabilities. Able to heal its allies for its class abilities or even revive them through their ultimates, it's able to keep your team in the fight for longer. And the final pro is it has access to bomb packs or bomb satchels. These are a unique ranged weapon only really available to the Ronin. However, it can also be customized so the assassin can use it. Nonetheless, by default it's only available to the Ronin. This is a unique ranged weapon that allows you to do a ton of explosive area of effect DPS, great for clearing out groups of enemies. But unfortunately, every ghost out there has various cons. When it comes to the cons for the Ronin, it is unfortunately with so many playstyles available to the class, it can be difficult to specialize in any one area. And that being said, when you do specialize in a certain area, it means that other areas are going to be weaker. For example, say you want to specialize as a healer, then it may mean that your melee and damage output will suffer as a result. And the other con for this build is, unfortunately, for the Ronin to be at its best, you need a decent selection of gear as well as be a high rank. So there we have it, those are the basics of the Ronin and Ghost of Tsushima Legends. In all honesty, this was the last class I leveled up. When I first started playing the class, it didn't really do it for me, so to speak. But after leveling it up, getting better gear, access to the various perks and more, I was amazed with how versatile this class could be. For me personally, I played a combination of a healing debuffing class, increasing my resolve points, allowing me to debuff multiple enemies. Combined with decent healing capabilities, it made gold missions feel incredibly easy. So there we have it, that's the class guide to the Ronin and Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.